And we are going live and good? Alright, we're good. What's going on, guys? It's Sam. We are back again for another live training. This is actually the last live training I'm doing for this season. This is what I call season 2. And I'm going to start up season 3, and it's going to be a little different, and I'll announce that when it's ready, okay? But I think next week I might start it, or I might not do it that week. We'll see, but I'll keep you guys in the loop. But yeah, for now, this is like the last one of the season, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dive in here. So this one is all about story time, okay? Story time, which is what was my experience like with my first Hollywood movie editing job. um, it sounds so cool and glamorous, right? And it was. But yeah, so let's when I got that job, let's go way back. So when I got that job, I thought it was gonna be like, the coolest job on the planet. I thought like, oh my god, I have to like stop working on my business in order to like actually do this, and I have to like this is gonna be it. Like, what if I start making more movies after this? Like, this is like my in, right? This is the door's been open for me. Um, and what I found out was, well, it's not a long story, but I'll just start from the beginning. So basically, this was early 2019. Okay, so this was a couple years ago. It was actually near this time. So a couple years ago, I had just quit my job. I had a job for 3 years as a full-time video producer, and I just left that job because I wanted to start my own company and just kind of go on my own, because I have that entrepreneurial mindset. There's a lot of people in my family that have that. It's just kind of natural. And I learned a lot from my old job from other entrepreneurs too. I was helping my boss run a podcast, where every week I was meeting all sorts of different entrepreneurs, from Grant Cardone to Lewis House to Russell Brunson and Lisa Nichols, all sorts of amazing people out there. And so I was meeting all them, and I was recording them, and I was editing them. So I just digested all that information that they put out there on the podcast, like over and over and over, because I was editing, right? Hello, how's it going? Hold on, I gotta close my door. Give me 1 second. Okay, so, so, um, So yeah, I jumped into my new job, or to starting my business. I left my job and jumped into starting my business. And a few months after I started, I was working on a course. And a few months after I started, I I got a call. Well, it was more like an email, but of course, like it was through family, but not exactly. So um, my aunt, who's always lived in California, and when I also quick little catch up. When I left my job, that job was in Arizona, and I left that job and moved to Palm Springs, California. So I was like 2 hours out of LA. And so my aunt has always lived in California, and I only see her maybe once a year. And her boyfriend, I would only see him maybe once a year, and otherwise we don't really like talk much. So um, apparently, after I was like putting out all my stuff about my business, my aunt's boyfriend, who is a producer for lots of TV shows and movies, he's been doing it his whole career, um, and maybe like 30 years or so, maybe 20, not sure. But he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I have this movie that I want to put together. It's on Avid Media Composer, and it's like it's kind of like the movies." Uh, the movie, like, or no, sorry, not that, the movie, what's it called, it's like it's based on Skype. It's missing, but one of them is called Searching. Another one is called Unfriended. They made two Unfriended movies, and they're both horrors, and they're both based on Skype. And so he was like, "Hey, it's gonna be kind of like this. It's gonna be very technical. It's going to be this, that, and the other." And he was basically describing me things that I was like, I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. But he didn't give me like any specifics. And I'm a big PC guy, and he told me I should buy a Mac. And I was like, maybe I don't need one. And at the end of the day, I didn't need one, but I bought one because he recommended it. And so, and then I was like, screw this, man. I have a PC and a Mac. I was so conflicted. I was like, why? Like, um, so yeah, so then I had that Mac, and I was all primed and ready to start the job in March. And then um, the it comes to maybe about a few days before I'm supposed to start the job, which is in Hollywood, and I was going to go pick up the stuff and work remotely. That was the idea. Um, and this was before COVID. This was a year before COVID, and I was just going to work remotely on the movie. And then so I was about to go out and go pick up the footage, and everything was going to be cool. But then my uncle told me, or he's not my uncle, he's my aunt's boyfriend, told me that apparently like the movie wasn't going to start for another couple weeks. They're just waiting on funding. Okay, so I waited a couple weeks, and I'm just doing my thing on my business, but I'm kind of going slow because I'm preparing to work on this job because it's going to be full time from home, and I'm just kind of anticipating that income coming in and all of that. And then a few days before that 2 week deadline, he tells me again, "Hey, it's going to be another 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks." Okay, and so now I'm like, all right, I guess I have to wait a month for this to start. Okay, and then this happens again and again and again and again. So basically, he told me, I think 6 or 7 times it's going to be another 2 or 3 weeks. And that's because they were having trouble convincing the executive producers to release the money to allow everyone to be paid to work on this movie. Because he not only wanted to hire me to edit the whole thing, just me, but he also wanted to hire a bunch of people to help him film a new ending. Because he had this movie was already shot, but we wanted to adjust it. So, oh man, it's crazy. So I had to wait all the way until September. So from March to September, it's like 6 month waiting period. Okay, so 6 months I was waiting to start this movie job, and I finally started it. It was so funny because like I went to Greece before I started the movie job. I had a week or a 10 day long trip to Greece for fun, just with a bunch of my friends. And while I was on that trip, I got a text from him saying that the movie was ready to go. And I was like, okay, this is great. This is pretty nice gift. Finally, it took 6 months to arrive for me to start this job that I thought would be so cool. I stopped caring about it, honestly. I didn't want to start it anymore because it derailed me from my business so much. I had to move a couple times because of it. Like it just messed up my whole 2019 schedule. But I mean, in the end, like uh, I don't regret anything. I don't regret accepting it. It just sucks that it took that long. Um, but yeah, and I also moved. I moved to LA a month before the movie started too. I was like, you know what? I'm just moving, and if it starts, it starts. That's what I did. And then I went to Greece also right after I moved. So magically I was affording all this. It was from all the money I saved from my old job. Um, but yeah, so started the job, and for the first 2 months I was working remote from my place in uh, Burbank, north, up north in LA. And so I was there and just working on the movie, and I was getting like zero help. They threw me, they threw me about like 4 or 5 terabytes worth of footage, and no organization, and no one with previous knowledge on how this was shot. Like, my aunt's boyfriend who hired me just didn't set me up for success. He was just like, "Oh, just figure it out and put it together and show me what you got when by this deadline." And I'm like, okay. And so I was doing my best, and basically I ran like over 2 months. It was like weekly phone calls where it was just a pain in the butt trying to explain to my aunt's boyfriend that I just wasn't set up for success. Like I was trying to figure this out, and just takes a long time for me to catch up to speed because there's so much footage here. I have to read the script, I have to put it all together, and I've never worked on a project this big before, but like I know I can do it, man. Then finally we realized like that. Then I got to the point where I was ready to kind of just start running and recreating some graphics because I thought I was just going to just update because the movie was already like cut, but it was very rough and it wasn't how we wanted it to be. The whole story needed to be adjusted. And so it was almost like there was a movie and then we had to scrap it and recreate it. But I had to figure that out. No one else could figure that out. And I had to figure that out because I knew technically how long it would take to update certain things. Um, so I started going, instead of working remotely, I started going into the office. And when I started going into the office, this was about a 25-minute drive, down, the main highway in LA through Hollywood. So I drove past the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I drove past like David Dobrik's house every day. I don't know if anyone knows him, but he's really famous. It was kind of funny. I think I saw one of his friends on his balcony. But I was driving down there every day, and it was pretty cool. And going into the office, it was right on Melrose. And it was right next to a bunch of famous, like super famous food spots, like Voodoo Donuts and Pink's Hot Dogs and stuff like that. And so I was right down there, and the studio was cool. All the people in there were cool. There were two guys named Max. They were awesome. I'm still in touch with them, and one of them turned into being one of like a full-time assistant for me. Then we also hired another full-time assistant. His name is Jack, and both of these guys ended up helping me use the Adobe Suite to put this movie together. Now, before they even came on, I had to convince both of my producers and the executive producer that Adobe was the way to go. We were on Media Composer, and while I was just kind of scrubbing through, everything was just choppy. It was slow. You can't edit as fast. It's just not as good. And yeah, there's people who are better than me at Avid, but I'm certified, so like I know what it takes to edit fast in Avid, and I also know it's so much faster to edit in Premiere, especially to do the things that we want it to do. And so, like, my gosh, like it took like 2 weeks for me to figure out, yeah, we need to switch to Adobe. Like this Avid is not working. So basically I took the Avid editing file, like the XML file, and I put the edit inside of Premiere, and I was able to transfer it. And so I also was able to convert everything to an After Effects file, which dynamic links to a Premiere Pro file, which has Photoshop files inside of it too. Everything was so linked, and it was like this monstrous project with like, I don't know, I think 25 layers, audio and video, of all this stuff going on for this movie, because this movie was based on a computer screen. And yeah, it's such a massive project. And so like it's based on a computer screen. So there's like maybe 6 or 7 windows up max at one time. And all these windows need to be individually recorded on a green screen. And by green screen, I mean just set the desktop background to green and then do a screen recording. That was filming. Like I basically became the cinematographer. I had to decide what the windows looked like. I also had to make sure I was filming it in 4K. I also had to make sure the bit rate was high. I had to make sure that I was getting raw footage where my camera was hitting the record button on, what was that? I didn't use QuickTime. I think I used not ScreenFlow. I forgot what the app was called. It might have been ScreenFlow. And then we used Motion too. Gosh. So it was all, and this was all Mac based, right? And I was also working on a computer that had 128 gigabytes of RAM, 2 Intel processors. I think they were both like i7s, and then 2 graphics cards. And they were both like NVIDIA's in the 2K range. I can't remember exactly which ones, like RTXs or something. And this machine still was having trouble with like, handling all of the keying of the green screens and like rendering, and I don't know why. It's just, I blame Mac, man. If you put all those things on a PC, that thing's like, you blink and that thing creates movies for you. Like it's so much faster. Oh man. So yeah, I convinced them to switch to Adobe, and it was After Effects, and mostly After Effects because I had to film everything, put it in After Effects, remove the green screen, and also do some because it was a comedy based around a frat. That's what the movie was. Um, yes, of course they accepted it because I have mad persuasion skills. Yes, they accepted the idea to rework the movie. Um, and and so I was like, Premiere's the way to go. And they were like, okay, we trust you. And I was able to get them to trust me after months and months have gone by of them paying me and us not having the movie done when we want it to be done. And they just kind of had to keep saying, like, Sam, when are you going to have a first cut? When can I see this? When can I see that? And I would always have my reasons that were very legit, very legit. And they just had to listen. They had to swallow it. And they were always upset. And I was in this environment where these producers were down my throat, like, what are you doing? And I was like, why are you guys mad at me? It's your fault. You didn't know how long this movie was going to take. You didn't know these were the steps that were supposed to be taken on the movie. You should have had someone look at it, say what needed to be done, and then hire it out, and then talk to the editor about what needed to be done. Like, it's crazy. Producers don't have time to do that, so they just hire everyone to do things for them. That's what a producer does. They're just the glue, They just get everyone. They persuade to get money and funding. They persuade to get the best people on the job, and they push to make sure everyone's doing everything ASAP. Like, that's what they do. Persuade, push, right? So that's what was going on, and I was like, wow, like, this is crazy, because I thought I had a decent relationship with my aunt's boyfriend, but after this movie, it's like he didn't allow me to have a good relationship with him, which was weird, because he was just so like I don't know. He just decided to be the way he was, and for me, I was just like being honest the whole time. I was just like, well, this is what we're dealing with. This is how long it'll take. I know it'll take this long, and well, I mean, at the end of the day, it took 6 months for us to create. Oh, my camera died. Hold on. It took 6 months for us to create. Here, let me. I'll just pop this off. Maybe you can see my Halo background. There we go. But yeah, it took 6 months for us to create that movie. And come on, man. Why's it gotta be like that? I just want to get this to continue working, Oh. Alright, well, reset my camera. Turn it back on. So yeah, by the end of the 6 months, I don't know why this is yellow. Okay, here, I'll just use my webcam. Bada bing, bada boom. Sorry, guys. There. Now you got me. It's not ideal, but it's here. So yeah, 6 months to go from start to finish. Where 2 months I was by myself. Actually, no, 3 months I was by myself. The last 3 months, I had my 2 assistants, and they were helping me basically utilize After Effects and just go faster, because I figured everything out. I had the script, I had the shot list, I was basically the cinematographer, I was being the director, I was also like editing it. Like, it was crazy. Like, I never thought I'd have that experience where like I wasn't just editing. Like, I wasn't just in charge of putting the movie together and coloring it and doing the sound. Like, I was also in charge of setting up how the shots are going to look, and basically sending it to my producers and being like, hey, how does this look? And they're like, yeah, it looks good. Or maybe like, adjust the position of this, make sure you can see this more, this, that, and the other thing. Like, I was basically like, it was cool because like, instead of going out in the field and like recording something and being like, hey boss, how do you like this? And they say, no, redo it. Then I have to go back and reset everything up, talk to my actors, get them all back, reshoot it, pay them all. No, I just had to go back on my computer, reset up the green screen and the windows, and just kind of maneuver them, and then re-record it, and then recomposite it through After Effects and Premiere Pro. So, um, yes, my face is dark because the camera died. So let me there we go. So yeah. Oh man, it was nuts. There were times where the executive producers would come in, and like I would be nervous because I'm usually not a nervous person. Usually, like, I don't, like, if someone's gonna come in and check my work, I'm fine. What I'm nervous about is like my producers saying the wrong things. Like, I was only nervous about like my producers being the bridge between me and the executive producers, right? Like, I would probably have a much better relationship with the executive producer if they're like, "Hey Sam, I'm giving you money to do this." I would be like, "Okay, no problem. I respect the money that you're giving me, and I'm gonna make sure that this happens." But instead, it was like the executive producer's like, "Hey producer, take my money, and I expect you to hire the right editor, and I'm not going to have a relationship with the editor. I'm going to have a relationship with you." So it's like there's a middleman, right? And I'm over here like, I don't want a middleman because they always diffuse and dilute my message. Like, I want my message to go direct to the person that needs to hear it, and the executive producer needs to hear it because they're the ones who are paying for the movie and they care the most. But that's not how the movie industry works. You got to just deal with your producer because they're your number one. And so I just didn't trust my producers. They just would say the wrong thing. In my opinion, they just wouldn't say it correctly. But at the end of the day, they did say it fairly correctly because we still managed to get through the movie. They didn't like cut the funding. Everything was okay. So they just kept persuading. But yeah, we created a first draft. Me, Jack and Rudy just having a good time in the office. Some nights I was working till 4 a.m. But most days it was just long days, maybe 10-hour days on average, and just in the office working on the movie, getting Chipotle like every day, and also like I met my girlfriend while I was working on the movie too. Met Jen, and like that was really distracting. And but it was fun at the same time. And so like I had a new girlfriend and I was finishing up my movie job, and then all the stuff was really great, and then all of a sudden COVID hits, and COVID's like, "Yo, what's up? I'm gonna screw everything up." But it's funny because my girlfriend and I we planned a trip in mid-March to go to Palm Springs, which is where I was staying when I started my business and when I accepted the movie job. So we went over there, and so we were there, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take this week off to work on my business because I hadn't worked on ParEdits in a long time. And I wanted to release more YouTube videos for you guys, and I wanted to update my courses, and I wanted to update my website and just get back into it because I hadn't been touching anything ParEdits for 6 months because of this full-time movie job. This was from September 2019 to March 2019. So we went to Palm Springs just to work because she has her own business too. So she wanted to get her business rolling. And while we were there in Palm Springs for that week, quarantine hits, right? So COVID is like, hey, let's shut everything down, all right? So quarantine comes in, and Jen and I were like, well, should we just stay here and not go back to LA? And that's exactly what we did. We just stayed there. I mean, we took our trips to go get our stuff from our homes because it's like a 2-hour drive. But we literally just lived in Palm Springs in my dad's place. It was nice because it's on a golf course. We were there all the way until the beginning of August. So funny. And the movie just was cut from funding, so it just went on pause, and it's been on pause. I haven't heard anything from it. I don't expect to hear anything. That's how the movie industry goes. It's like sometimes you spend some money and sometimes you just lose. But this movie it had Logan Paul in it. It had Alicia something Dednam Carey. She's from Fear of the Walking Dead. It had what was his name? I don't know. The kid from the Goldbergs. I don't even remember his name. Oh, Sam Lerner. Yeah, it had all these famous actors. And we were gonna market it. I think I was gonna meet Logan Paul and do a screening of the movie with him once it was ready, because we just finished the first draft and we were gonna start screening. So I think I was gonna meet Logan Paul, but I wasn't sure, which would have been a really weird experience. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna see if my camera will turn back on. I've been using this webcam. I don't want to use the webcam, man. Come on. I see you. There you go. Alright. Put you in the center. That should work. Haha. So yeah, I could have met Logan Paul, could have met those other actors, maybe, because Logan Paul signed a contract, or like they signed a contract with the producers saying like, oh, Logan Paul has to sign off on this because he was the most famous. He had like the biggest posse. He's boxing now. I don't know what the heck. I don't know why he filmed this movie, but he would have had to sign off on it before it could be released. Like he had like one of the final says. It's so funny. Yeah, and then COVID was like, nope, movie's done, guys. See you later. Did the movie deter me from ever trying to edit a movie again? No, I'll edit a movie again. I just don't think. I think I'd rather work for a friend of mine than a family member. I'd rather work for someone who I know rather than someone who just reached out to me and they didn't know me. Because, like my aunt's boyfriend he didn't know me. He didn't understand me. He didn't know where I was coming from. He was just like, hey, I see that you edit and I'm impressed. You should take this job. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could do it. But I'm not that excited to work with you because I'd rather work with someone I know. Yeah, so one day, but I'm not in a rush. I know how to make my own movie too. I can just go get a camera. I know how to direct. I've directed a movie, short films before. I would just need a screenplay, and I know a screenwriter. Like, if I really wanted to make a movie myself personally, I could do it. But I'm not inclined to do that because I'm trying to give back my skills to you guys, because that's fun to me. So maybe one day work on a movie. One of my bucket list items, which is out of my control, but it is one of my bucket list items, is to make a blockbuster movie, which basically is a movie that makes the most money over a week out of any other movies in theaters. So that'd be cool, like, to have edited that or worked on it. Like, if I was an assistant editor, I think that counts. But ideally, I would probably be the main editor because I'm so overqualified for assistant editor positions. Personally, just because it's just organization, and I organize naturally. I don't even need like assistants to be organized. So yeah, I just had my two assistants. When they gave me my assistants, they were like, okay, so I'm used to doing this, and I was like, wait, no, we're not doing that. I just need you guys to do this, and I'll let you know till further notice. And I want to make sure that you're actually having a good time working on this movie rather than just doing logging. Like, I don't need logging. Like, just like, you can just help me literally by focusing on one step in the process. Just keep doing that one step. And for one of my assistants, it was actually recording. And he would mess up sometimes. He'd mess up most of the time, and I would just ask him to re-record. But he eventually got into it. Like, he was doing the screen recordings. And then sometimes I had to do them because, they weren't as accurate. I couldn't get my vision across. And then another assistant was doing all the compositing, getting all the green screens out, getting them all prepared for Premiere. And then I was putting them in Premiere and cutting them up and messing with the speed duration because some windows would, last for too long. Some actions would take too long. So I'd have to speed things up. And then I'd also have to composite the mouse on there. And to do that, oh man, that was crazy. I forgot how we did it. I didn't screen record me moving the mouse. I took a picture of a mouse, and in After Effects, there's this ability to play the video and then like track it. And then also I was like using Bezier curves to manually just have the mouse going around. And trying to make that look realistic is kind of hard, but it's fun. Like just making, like trying to create an effect where people think something's real, but it's actually not. It's literally just a picture of a mouse with a bunch of Bezier curves. You could see like the route that it was going to take to do all of its stuff. Yeah, we'll see. I think for now I'm just going to continue leaning into all the things that I want to do. And what I want to do is this one-on-one tutoring, which is what I've been doing with a lot of people recently. Having a lot of fun, meeting a lot of great people. You can always set up a time with me. There's a link down below. It says book a one-on-one tutoring session with me, I think. And yeah, and then creating helpful guides for you guys, creating helpful courses, and uploading YouTube videos that you guys find useful, giving you motion graphics templates. I literally just uploaded a video before this for motion graphics templates. It was for a motion graphics intro, and I just made that video a couple days ago. And then I have another one on deck for motion graphics title. But yeah, guys, I think this is good. I think that's about it. Because now you see me here. Yeah, after COVID, I might have more opportunities. Who knows? I mean, I don't care. I don't care about more movie opportunities anytime soon. That's not something that excites me. And if someone brings it to me, I know what questions to ask. Like, I'm not just gonna go in blind like I did last time and wait 100,000 years before the movie starts, and then also, mess around with footage for 2 months before anything can actually be understood. Like, I'm going to be like, okay, if I'm going to jump on this project, I need to talk to the director, the old director. I need to talk to, any assistant editors that have been logging this current project. Like, craziness can happen when you don't ask the right questions. So yeah, that's it, guys. I think that's it. We're 40 minutes in. That was a pretty good one. I think for now, I'll leave you with watching that latest YouTube video that I just put out. It's a little on the lengthy side. It's 11 minutes. I try to do 5 minutes, but it's hard, man. Sometimes these effects just take a lot of keyframes, and explaining how to put those keyframes out takes some time. But it's a great effect. It's so cool. You just click on the video and you'll see what it looks like. But yeah, and then I got another one coming up. I hope that one will be 5 minutes. I hope. But yeah, I want them to be shorter so that you guys can digest them faster. So yeah, check out tutoring sessions. Schedule a tutoring session with me. You can also hit me up on the ParEdits helpline. It's a 15-minute call. It's like an intro call. We can just get to know each other and see if I can offer something to you. If you're ready to take your video skills to the next level. Yeah, what else? Oh, I'm releasing YouTube Motion Graphics Academy. Okay, that's a brand new idea of mine. It is in the process. I'm building it. It's going to be a big, comprehensive course, and also it's going to have plenty of offerings and downloads and all the stuff that everyone's going to want if you want to make your YouTube look awesome, or even create a stream kit if you want to be a streamer for games on Twitch or YouTube or wherever. That's what it's for. Okay, so yeah, that's all I got, guys. Hope you're doing well. Glad a few of you show up here. This is it's always a good time getting questions and everything. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a good one, and stay tuned for another YouTube video. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.